This is your one and only Firespark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another exciting Atlas video. They recently released another captain's log, and it talks about some changes that are coming in the next large patch and some updates they've made. And considering I covered the initial post on that in the live stream, I figured I would cover this as well to give you all the update on what they have changed. All right, so let's jump over to that captain's log real quick and take a look. So of course they posted their image of their milestones just to give you an update on what that's going to be. Then it says, if you didn't have a chance to read our previous captain's log, please do so, as it covers a lot of information regarding our massive update coming later this month, and we will add some clarity to the changes we discussed below. So I already covered that. Like I said, I'll link the video in the description and up here in the corner now. Okay, so let's continue going on here. So they talk about general claim changes. We'll be making some general changes to the system which will impact both PvE and PvP servers. The boat decay system will be enabled. This means that there will be a tagging system attached to boats which will cause them to self-destruct after multiple weeks of inactivity on PvE, Golden Age Ruin, and Freeport servers. To tag a boat, the owner of the boat, single player or company, will just need to enter its stasis render distance. So essentially, once the boat has been rendered in front of you or somewhere on your screen at all, or rendered off your screen, that tags the boat, which enables the decay system or stops your boat from decaying. Claim owners will be able to demolish structures via the pinwheel. So I'm going to break right there for a second because this is something they talked about in the previous post. So essentially what happens is if you place a claim down, you own that island. Anybody can come build on that island, but you can also destroy structures on that island. So here they're just elaborating and letting you know how that whole shenanigans is going to work. So let's continue on. On their settlements temporarily, as long as the structure has been placed within the last 12 hours. After the 12-hour period has passed, they will not be able to demolish the structure using the pinwheel and must manually destroy it. And by that, they mean you're gonna have to blow it up or something. Whatever you gotta do to destroy it, you just won't have that fast demolish option. Claim owners can do this outside of raid hours or warlike. This exists as an anti-griefing mechanism. On PvE servers, we may extend the time period beyond 12 hours as players will not have the option to destroy via PvP. So what's going to happen is you own an island, you've claimed it, that whole island belongs to you. You collect taxes on that island because in order to claim it, you have to place a bank. So then what happens is somebody comes and they build, say on the other side of your island, you go over there, you don't want them to build. If they just place that structure within 12 hours, you can delete it. Now, if you don't catch it within 12 hours, then you can't. There will be a notice sent to the settlement owner's company and also via a cross-server notification pop-up when new players / companies are building on their territory. Players will have the option to subscribe to this company log via email or Discord, similar to other company log messages. So they're going to tell you when somebody else has come to your island and started building. Yeah, that's actually a cool feature, although I feel like on certain servers that could end up being a pain in the butt. You're just going to get flooded with people coming in building randomly or building little tiny structures and stuff like that, and it may get a little hectic. Okay, now here's where the big changes come in, and this, we all saw this coming. We all knew this was going to happen. If you didn't know this was going to happen, you don't know how games work these days. So originally they said PvE was essentially going to be like Ark. You know, you build wherever you want to build, and you have to make sure you keep up with the decay. They had a building that was going to auto repair your structures for you, and that was about it. It was essentially like Ark, but instead everything decays and you have a structure that auto repairs it for you. That was in order to keep down pillar spamming and the other things that you see people to do in Ark in order to claim land. However, you cannot give people the ability to claim something, say it's theirs, own it like an entire island, and then take that away and not expect some type of outrage. So I'm going to read this first line here, and then I'm going to translate it to non-PR speak, because this is PR stuff right here. So we received an extensive amount of feedback from the PvE community regarding our upcoming changes. The overwhelmingly clear message was a desire to retain some form of a claiming system. Okay, now the non-PR version. We really pissed everybody off and got absolutely flooded in the forums with people saying they are going to quit the game if we make the changes we're about to make, because that's exactly what happened. One aspect of the design we intended to stick to is the fact we want players to always have an option to build. Otherwise, the game cannot be truly experienced in its current state. And I mentioned this before, like I said this, I don't remember, it was one of the other stream things they did or something like that, where they were talking about the claiming system and people not being able to build and saying that people didn't have to build. Yeah, you do. You miss out on a large chunk of the game if you decide to try to live in a boat. Not that you can't live in a boat if you want to, but you're dealing with a lot of BS that you shouldn't have to deal with, and you miss out on a large chunk of the game. You miss out on a large chunk of, you gotta build. That's just all there is to it. And I said that before, and at least they freaking realize it now, or they knew it all along and they were trying to just make people feel better about the situation that they put them in. That's an option as well. We understand that there are some concerns regarding how that could potentially be exploited in a PvE environment, and we'll be working on designs and systems to ensure that isn't the case from a technical point of view, as well as through GM involvement. So they're actually going to get GMs involved. They're going to have admins on the game doing stuff, being involved in the community. I think that's kind of good to some extent, but at the same time, I kind of feel like they should stay out of it and put mechanics in there that allow the game to take care of itself. Like, I honestly felt that if done right, there are changes to the PvE system that they had in place, or were going to put in place, I should say, should have worked out just fine and kept people from monopolizing too much land. The system that they're doing now should do the same. I don't know how much involvement they're going to have to put into the game. It'll be a situation where we'll have to wait to see what kind of exploits can be done once the patch is, finally hit. So with the Mega March update, the claim system on PvE will change from being lawless-esque servers to the following. Use the same claim system as PvP, but remove the rateable hours and war aspect. So that's really good that of course they'd have to do that. This means that players will be able to claim an island and anyone can build on those settlements. Each settlement will have an upkeep cost, which is based on a variety of factors such as the island ranking, the number of settlements that the company has, and how many different companies are building on the settlement. Also players. They said before it's company/players. So you don't necessarily have to have companies on the island to decrease the upkeep cost, but individual players will count as well. Settlement owners will be able to set a tax rate, and also players will be able to place their player-run shops on claimed land. However, we are planning on some PvE specific changes. We will be imposing a hard limit of claim points equivalent to one small island for single players. Companies will be able to own multiple settlements, but there will be a hard limit lower than PvP, and it will be based on island points and the number of players who are currently in that company. This means that large companies will have access to more claim points and are therefore able to settle on more islands with higher rankings. However, we will still be imposing a relatively low cap. Company alliances will no longer be enabled on PvE servers. We understand that there are some legitimate use cases. However, in this sandbox environment, we believe they will primarily be used to game the system and get past company rules/limitations. We recognize that this may impact how trading communications take place on PvE servers, and we are looking into an alternative option for players. I don't know how that's going to affect trade. Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. I got some really good, actually. You all talked a lot in the comments last time I did this and talked about how you felt a lot of things were going to work and really helped shed a lot of light on things. I really like the group effort towards these patch notes. It's really thought-provoking, I guess you could say, to see how other people think and how other people would exploit certain things. So yeah, let me know. I'm not sure how that would affect trade if we're going to have the shops, because it's not like they can't just come over and use your shop. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, let me know what you think about these new changes. Now, they have shed some light on some certain things here. So it looks like we're going to have claim points, and you're going to get more claim points, and those claim points are what's going to create the hard cap, because they stated that there's going to be a hard cap on the amount of islands that you have, and that smaller companies wouldn't be able to claim larger islands and stuff like that. So it looks like islands are going to have a point value set to them based on size and resources and all that, and then you're going to have an amount of claim points that you can spend. So if you're a single player, then you can only settle down on a little tiny island. You won't be able to, we won't have these 1- and 2-man groups like claiming massive islands just to hog the space, which I think is really good. I mean, you're small, you should settle down on a small island. Honestly, I don't think single players should have any claim points. I think it should be at least a company of 2. Should at least have a company of 2 to settle down on a small island. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, so we also have some PvP claim changes. We'll also be adding some new options along with changing how cannons are used during raidable wartime hours. Give claim owners the option to enable ally companies to build cannons on their lands. See, I said this the last time. Now, I mentioned this the last time because I thought it was stupid that they were going to stop other players on your island from building, because I assumed that it was a situation where they felt like people would take advantage of that to essentially storm the castle easier, but you can just delete it. So if you feel like somebody's getting too close to your base or is setting up to raid you during your raid window, then you can just delete it. You just go up and delete the structure. It's not really like, I didn't see how it was an issue. Give company owners the option to allow allies to use their cannons governance settings. So that's really cool. So not only can you allow them to build cannons and defensive structures, essentially, you can also allow them to use your cannons, which is really freaking cool, because then everybody can like band together and defend the island, be like, this is our home type situation. I think that's fantastic. Great choices there all around. Enable an activation timer on cannon structures placed by non-ally companies during wartime or raid hours to prevent instant FOBs. I'm not sure what FOBs is. Similar to battery-powered heavy turret activation on Arc. I'm not sure what that's all about. Somebody wants to explain that in the comments too. That would be awesome, very helpful to, I'm sure, a lot of people. Delay on joining a new company or alliance after leaving one for 24 hours. This keeps you from basically company hopping. Company owners and admins can now set other companies as neutral. This is done via the in-game pinwheel, similar to alliances when targeting other companies' structures or player. Companies which are marked as neutral will have a different color display HUD as a way for players to indicate they are non-hostile. Oh, okay, I get what this is. I'll explain in a second for those who don't. However, they will not have other benefits which the alliance system would provide. In summary, there will now be 3 states in which other companies can appear ally, neutral, or enemy. So essentially, this is for you. It's to set them as a neutral company. So you can only have so many allies, and they've limited that. But now what they're doing is allowing you to set a company to neutral. This way you don't attack them. So while you can only have so many allies, this is just basically better management of your territory. Because I'd stated in the last video, I felt like you would want to ally with everybody who's setting up on your island, just to get that band together feel that I mentioned with allowing them to build defensive structures. So this essentially allows you to do that, allows them to allow you to do that without making use of the ally system, as you all stated in the comments in the last video, in order to create a giant, absolutely insane company. Because essentially what you would be able to do is hit the limit cap for your company, create another one, ally with them, and continue to rinse and repeat that until you just have an insanely massive company. We acknowledge that there has been a lot of feedback regarding alliance limitations and how they impact mid-sized companies, along with the role they play when sharing territory. This is something we are currently discussing, and we may have an update for you closer to the time of the patch. So that's pretty good stuff. It's a lot of they're trying really hard. If you can't see how hard they're trying, they are doing their dangdest to try to make this game their vision and the vision that the players expected it to be. And I mean, it may happen. We'll see. We'll see after this patch. I feel like this patch is going to make or break it. We'll see what happens. Now there's a lot of really cool stuff that they start talking about here, and we're gonna go over this pretty quickly here. Player-to-player secure trading system. This update will also include our first phase of the player-to-player secure trading system, which is freaking excited. I said we needed that from day one. We regard this as an important aspect of the game. Yeah, no crap. Alongside our player-ran shops, which you'll be able to experience later this month on PTR. So they're gonna do the public test realm later this month, and they talk more about that. We probably won't see any of this stuff that we're talking about now hit the live servers until probably next month, because they're going to want to leave it on PTR for a while. This is also really cool and I think fantastic, and it was something that I thought was in the game when I first started playing it and then realized wasn't and needed to be in the game. Procedurally generated shipwrecks. The March Mega Update will also introduce a new environment objective for players to explore whilst out at sea. Procedurally generated shipwrecks exist as a new source of loot for items and blueprints. You'll be able to find them randomly populating throughout the sea floor, with a higher density present around the underwater trench. So get closer you get to the trenches, the more of these you're going to see. You can find them by diving into the ocean or looking out for their visual indicator on the surface of the water, or successfully completing the sextant minigame, which will point you in the direction of nearby shipwrecks, procedurally generated or player made. Now, this is really cool, and I'm wondering what loot we're going to find in this, because right now loot is in specific things. So for example, if you want ship loot, so if you want ship blueprints, you kill ships of the damned. If you want structure blueprints, you harvest flotsam. And if you want weapons and stuff, you do maps. So I'm wondering if these are going to be a combination of all those things, or if they're going to be more another way to get ship blueprints. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Or it could just be, well, they say items and blueprints, so it's not going to be just resources. I'm also wondering if you can get resources off of it too, because getting a hold of some of those rarer resources would be a really nice option. So I can't wait for this. This is going to be awesome, and it's just going to be something else to do when you're killing time, and another fun adventure aspect of the game. We'll have various types with their own unique looks. Players will need to swim into them to locate chests to loot, which will vary based on the shipwreck. The structure pieces of the planks will not be able to be harvested, and the submarine can just directly attack the ship to harvest the loot. Oh, that's really cool too. Once the chests inside the wreck have been activated, it will begin a timer which will destroy the wreck. Additionally, looting it entirely will also cause the wreck to be destroyed. That's cool. I like that you can just harvest it with the submarine, so you can take the submarine out and just hunt these things down. Please keep in mind that this will be our initial implementation for these procedurally generated shipwrecks, and we'll be expanding on them in a future update, as well as introducing more PvE content for players to explore and experience. Public Test Realm Test Live. This update, including the war system and claiming changes, will be making its way to our public test realm before it hits the entire official network, and will be accessible for all players for both PvP and PvE. It is anticipated that the test live will be available to play around the 20th of March, and we'll keep you posted should there be any more updates as the time approaches. So yeah, it's not hitting. This is where it's I mentioned that it's not hitting to the end of the month. They're gonna let that go. They keep calling this the Mega March update, but it should be the Mega March Test Live introduction, because this update is not going to hit in March. There's no way they're going to put it out on Test Live on the 20th and then it's going to hit this month. It'll be sometime next month. We appreciate all the feedback you're sharing regarding the update, and we'll continue to work on improving the systems and the game by incorporating aspects of that feedback into our existing development pipelines, as well as our vision for the game. Upcoming major version, and this is already hit, so we're gonna go over this quick. We'll also be releasing a major version update on the 8th of March, which will contain a massive overhaul to the way items are replicated on our networks. This will result in considerable performances, blah, 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 blah. Major updates necessary. Additionally, we'll be rolling out the peg leg, hook, hand cosmetics, and they can be acquired at the free port. So you can go to the free port and get the hook hand and peg leg now, which is awesome. I'm disappointed you can't have 2 peg legs. Like, really? You're gonna raid the forums for something? Raid the forums and tell them to let us put 2. I want 2 peg legs. Who doesn't? Let me know. Anybody out there who doesn't want 2 peg legs or 2 hook hands? Everybody wants 2 peg legs or 2 hook hands. Let's be real. And then they talk about dynamic atlas maps, and then they go into some other art winners, which I can't show this one here. You probably, it's good art. Go check it out. I'll put the link to this in the description as I usually do. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that sub button. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons for making this episode possible. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.